Thank you all for participating this evening. We'll now begin with an opening statement from Coach Cook and then go to questions. Please use the raise hand function to indicate you would like to ask a question. When you're called on for your question, please state your name and affiliation first. Coach Cook, please give us a brief opening statement and then we will go with questions.
Well, first of all, I feel like I'm in the Wizard of Oz and you're like the Oz talking to me from somewhere. It's kind of weird, but great match by Texas. They totally outserved and passed us, and that was our only chance to hang with them because, as Nicklin said, they're a big physical team. They've got 5 great hitters, and you got to put some stress on them, and we didn't do enough of that, and let them get some big runs. And so that was if we didn't pass well today, we were going to have a hard time.
Thank you, Coach. Now we'll go to questions from the media. Please use the raise hand function to indicate you want to ask a question. When called upon, please state your name and affiliation first. Our first question will come from Lincoln Arneal. Lincoln, go ahead.
John, what kind of problems did Texas's outside? I mean, Fields and Eggleston seemed like they were just swinging away at will. What kind of problems did they cause to you in your defense?
Well, they're big physical hitters. They set the ball tight, and they go up there and go over the block. And so you've got to dig them if they get it by the block, or we got to try to touch it. And, we did a pretty nice job on Eggleston. I mean, I think she only hit 2-something, and we had her down there lower than that until we rotated in Game 4, and then Nicklin was on her, and she got a couple kills. But Skylar Fields, we had no answer for, and we tried to get Jazz on her, but what really helps is when you serve and get them off the net and not in system, then that gives you a better chance. And, I thought we served pretty well today. I think we had 9 aces, 3 errors, but, we were out of position on defense a few times. We were running around, and we just had to stay disciplined and dig some shots. And I thought, they're going to get some big, exciting kills, but I thought if we could have just not given up some runs siding out, we could have been some close games and had a chance to get this thing to 5 and win it.
Our next question will be from Andrew Ward. Go ahead, Andrew.
Hey, John. Sorry it's loud in here. What was the emotion like in the locker room?
It was pretty quiet, I think it's been a weird season, and so I was just quiet, and there wasn't much emotion, and it's just this whole thing is what I told them. I'm really proud of how they've handled it because they've handled a lot better than I have, but they've done a tremendous job all the way since fall, of handling this and the start stops, and just like this morning, we get 4 positive antigen tests. So we got 4 people that have to go get PCR tests. And so I don't know what the NCAA did today or the testing people did, but we haven't had 1 positive antigen the entire year. And all of a sudden we get 4 today. Well, what do you think that does when you go get locked in a room and you're sitting in there for an hour and, just stuff like that. I mean, you're playing, you're not playing, and so there was a point this morning we weren't even sure if we were going to play or we're going to get canceled. And then and I know Texas had a positive as well. So just it's mind games, and they've done a really good job of handling it. And I've seen stuff this year that I have never seen before, with injuries, with emotional stuff, and it's just been a really interesting year. I hope we can have a normal fall season.
Our next question will be from Kevin Suits. Go ahead, Kevin.
John, when do you expect to start having conversations about next year and the players with the opportunity to return for an additional season?
We'll have meetings this week because we have, a lot of them. Some of them are going to go home and do finals, and we're wrapping up the semester here. Some of them are finished, or pretty much, I think, except for a final. So we'll have meetings this week and see where we're at. We've tried to not make that a focus or much of a conversation, and so those will happen this week.
Our next question is from Brent Wagner. Go ahead, Brent.
Yeah, John, how do you just describe how significant the difference is with Texas in system and Texas out of system?
They got two big physical left side hitters. We've got Nicklin blocking one of them 3 rotations and Jazz blocking the other, and Jazz is not that big of a physical blocker. So we tried putting Lexi over there a few times, but that's the biggest problem. And then every once in a while they fire to the middle, which I thought we did a pretty good job on those guys, and we did a pretty good job on Phillips. And then we shut down. We slowed down. Anil started off really hot, but we started slowing her down. So I felt like if we would just have stayed a little more disciplined, we could have done a little bit better job on them. But they're hitting big numbers this year. There's a reason for it. And I think the other thing that really hurts us is we haven't played physical teams like that since Ohio State. Ohio State is a physical team. All the other teams we've played since then, and there hasn't been. There's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 matches have not been that physical, except for Presley yesterday was pretty physical. But Texas has got two Presleys and a couple really physical middles, so it's a whole nother dimension to deal with. But that's typical Texas. That's how they always are. You gotta find other ways to beat them. And we just, like I said, we gave up too many runs today trying to side out, and passing broke down.
If there are any final questions for Coach Cook, please raise your hand. We'll go back to Brent Wagner. Go ahead, Brent.
Yeah, have this season wore your team down, or did the better team just beat you today?
Well, Texas played better today, so they deserve to win. We won game 2. They came out really strong in game 3, and we just didn't answer. And again, I'm going to attribute part of that to, you asked me the other day, are we better now than we were? Yeah, I think we're better than we were a year ago. But we haven't had the matches to build the toughness and the mindset you have to win these kind of matches. And I think that really hurt us today, because we have to execute better than Texas, and so we just haven't had those matches, and so I think it showed today, and Texas definitely took advantage of it.
We'll go back to Lincoln Arneal. Go ahead, Lincoln.
Now, what was it like playing in an arena somewhat full of fans that were cheering you on today?
It was. If this is the first match, it's felt like, oh, we're having a real volleyball match, and there's fans here, and I think both teams were really excited to play, and there was some atmosphere, and we could feel them, and they were, willing us, but also. When you give up 4 points, just shank 4 balls, you don't even get them over the net. I mean, it takes the wind out of the atmosphere. And so I said, if we could have kept it close, I think those fans could have willed us some points and possibly a win. And but here's what I realize is, I never thought how much we would miss having full arenas and big crowds, whether you're home or on the road. You really miss that, and it's definitely it's hard to describe. It's an empty feeling. It's I appreciate the fans that came out today and cheered us. They were awesome as always, and but man, do we miss it, and hope we can get back to normal.
All right, thank you, Coach Cook, for your time today.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Thank you all for participating this evening. You can find a recording of this press conference in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at www.ncaa.veritone.com. Thank you for joining us.